What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with another ARK Insight of the new kind that we've been doing the last couple of days. And today we're taking a look at the Wyverns. So what these ARK Insights are, if you haven't tuned in to see one of them before, essentially what we do is we just go over their abilities briefly, and then we go through some roles that you guys can do for each of these Wyverns. So for example, we give them all their points in levels, and then we distribute them based on roles that we have researched and decided that have come up best. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, there are four different types of Wyverns. Sorry, you've got your fire, you've got your poison, and you've got your lightning. Three of which you can see here. You also have the ice Wyvern, which we haven't actually got here because we kind of forgot about. But all these Wyverns have different attacks. Well, they have different breath attacks. They all have the same primary attack, which is just a bite. You can see there, we're going to showcase it on the turtle. There we go. You can see there's a bite attack. Now, they also have another attack, which is their breath attack. They then have a third attack, which is their wing attack. Now, this does a slight knockback to creatures in range. You can see there that poor turtles just get sent flying back. Now, of these three abilities, their breath attacks are hands down their strongest. Their bite attack is really strong as well. However, their breath attacks are the strongest. Now, with their third attack, their wing attack, you can actually harvest thatch and cactus sap from trees. Now, they have a very good affinity for gathering cactus sap with this attack. Well, it gathers cactus sap like crazy, believe me. So there is that as well. Now, out of the three of them, they're all really evenly distributed. The Fire Wyvern does deal the most damage out of all of them, because his Flame Breath attack does damage over time. And then it comes to the Lightning Wyverns, whose attack is just like a stream of lightning. You'll see it shortly. And the Poison Wyvern sends out a gas ball that explodes, and that actually damages players through their armor as well. The Frost Wyvern, however, does a breath attack that actually slows down the victim by a considerable amount. So without further ado, let's get into some of these roles that these guys can accomplish. Now, the main role that you're obviously going to use your Wyverns for is battle mounts. These guys are exceptional battle mounts. They deal crap tons of damage, they have huge health pools, and they have a lot of stamina. Now you can see we've just dumping a ton of experience on these guys. There we go. Now you can see he's got 72 points available for him. Now, these guys are level 285 because we have summoned them in on the highest level that we have actually managed to find a Wyvern egg, and that is 190, which I'm 90% sure that you can find on official that high. So these guys are at level 285, and you can already see that they've got 11k health, 768 weight, and 352 melee damage. Now, for this battle mount, it's pretty self-explanatory. What you're really going to want to pump up is health and melee damage. Now, you will want to put some points into stamina as well, as their breath attacks really do drain their stamina. 2k stamina is normally plenty enough for them, but their health as well, you could easily take that up to 15k if you so choose to, even up to 20k. And then the rest of the points you pretty much just want to put into melee damage. Now, their breath does scale with their melee damage as well, so the more points you put into their melee damage, the more damage that their breath attack will do. Now, you can see here, this guy has tons of health now. He's got 15k health, plenty of stamina to utilize his breath attack, and his melee damage is ridiculously high. If you remember correctly, we did 283 with a single bite against that turtle. We are now hitting 450. You see there, that poor Parasaur has to suffer our wrath right now. And, you know, you can fly and attack at the same time, which is absolutely wonderful. And you can fly and use their breath attack at the same time as well, unless, of course, you get stuck in the bloody trees. Now, you can see here, the breath attack of the Fire Wyvern has scaled with its breath. We are now hitting 112, and this melts through dinosaurs. The Fire Wyvern's breath attack exceptionally, because, well, it does damage over time based on the dino's health. And you can see there, the poor Bronto, he's not going to stand a chance against the wrath of the Fire Wyvern. But while he's being burnt down by the fire attack, you can actually then just pull out your bite attack and finish it off like that. Now, this can be said for all the tames, all the Wyverns, sorry. The Poison Wyvern's attack will also scale with its breath attack, so the more melee damage, the more damage its breath attack will do, and the same goes for the Lightning Wyvern. Now, this main role, there's nothing really else to say, you know, this is just going to be your main combat role. You're going to go around shredding absolutely everything and anything in the vicinity. So, we're going to jump on to another Wyvern and showcase to you guys another role that we've come up with. Now, this next role that you're going to want to use is definitely a must with any wyvern. You know, I definitely recommend having one wyvern set aside just for this particular role. Now, this role here is going to be the transport role. With this build, you want to put into points into stamina. You want to do plenty of stamina so he doesn't have to land, and you also want to do weight. Majority of the points should go into weight because, well, they're just absolutely nuts. Wyverns are one of the fastest creatures in all of ARK. The only thing that's faster than them is the griffin while doing the dive bomb attack. At base movement speed, the griffins are actually slower than wyverns. So wyverns are one of the fastest creatures in the game. Now with this build, like I said, you're going to be able to use this guy to transport absolutely anything and everything. Now, if you do manage to tame up a high-level wyvern as well, hatch a high-level wyvern, they're going to have plenty of health and melee damage as it is, so I wouldn't worry about putting any points into health or melee damage. But with this weight build, you can easily ferry items across the entirety of the map. You can also transport tames across the entirety of the map. Because one thing that we didn't actually mention is that the wyverns actually have the ability to pick up prey as well while being in the air. They're easily able to pick up most of the creatures that a Quetzal can pick up as well, which makes them really invaluable for taming creatures and, you know, dropping enemy player dinos and ferrying your own dinos to enemy bases. You know, you can ferry stegos, trikes, pretty much anything and everything with a wyvern over to the enemy base. It's a great way to go about getting extra tames over to the enemy bases. As well as that, you can bring these guys with you to the raids and easily transport all the items that you get from the raid back to your own base. They have such a large stamina pool that you don't need to worry about landing at all that often, which is just wonderful. Their weight is ridiculous. You know, you can take Ankies out with the wyverns and go out and do metal gathering runs like that with the wyvern instead of the Argy. Granted, it's a lot more difficult to do so because you have to actually get the wyvern egg first, but it is definitely accomplishable. And that is pretty much the majority of the roles that you're going to be using your wyverns for. Now, there is obviously one other role that you can use it. Well, you know, you don't really need to, but that is the cactus sap and thatch harvesting role. But, you know, if you've got other teams, you don't really need to worry too much about this role because there's no point in wasting points into extra melee damage if you don't want to, just to gather thatch and cactus sap. It's really not worth it in my opinion. However, there is one final role that you can use it for, and that is to hunt. Now, wyverns have the bite equivalent to a plesiosaur, which means they're able to gather quite large quantities of meat, as well as prime meat and mutton. So there is that as well. Now, they're obviously not as powerful as a Rex in terms of meat gathering, but these guys just absolutely annihilate everything and everything, which is great for gathering tons of meat as well. Now, for the previous roles that we said, the first role, the war mount, you can actually take these guys out and head out to Titanosaurs and actually use them to level up your player and themselves on Titanosaurs. Now, on Ragnarok, you can normally find Titanosaurs in the desert area, sometimes in the redwoods. However, majority of the time they are in the desert area, and you can easily melt the Titanosaur with a lightning wyvern or a fire wyvern. I wouldn't recommend taking a poison wyvern or an ice wyvern because it'll be a lot slower than it would be with a lightning wyvern. Because the lightning wyvern has such range on his breath attack, you'd easily be able to melt the Titanosaur. It may take a little bit of time, but you can definitely do it, and it is easily accomplishable. So guys, that'll conclude today's video. Let me know what you thought of it down below. Let me know if there are any other roles you guys tend to use your wyverns for. These are just some of the ones that we have thought about and deemed worthy enough to be in the video. Let me know whether or not you guys are enjoying this series so far. If you are, make sure to subscribe for more of them down the road because we will be doing plenty of these if you guys are enjoying them. But other than that, thank you very much for watching everyone, and I hope to catch you in the next one.